reivindicar que estamos en el camino, que estamos haciendo muchas cosas y que, bueno, gracias a personas como la secretaria Xeral, Susana, creo que además no solo muchas cosas, sino muy bien hechas. Voy a presentaros a las personas que forman la mesa. Tenemos una breve intervención de ellas y luego ya damos paso a la conferencia de la doctora Reis de la Universidad de Connecticut. A mi izquierda está Eva López Barrio. Ella es coordinadora de Woman Emprende, un departamento de la Universidad de Santiago de Compostela que lleva años dedicándose al emprendimiento femenino. Eva ha confiado en este congreso desde el minuto cero, nos ha apoyado, nos ha ayudado y además también ha visto cómo daba a luz el proyecto empresarial del que os hablábamos el primer día, la spin-off Latento, primera dedicada al ámbito de las altas capacidades. Gracias, Eva, por estar aquí, gracias por todo tu apoyo. A continuación está Susana López Abella, que es secretaria xeral de Igualdade de la Xunta de Galicia. Susana está siempre, no sé cómo lo hace, porque es mujer, supongo que por eso lo hace, porque es capaz. Está siempre en todas partes que apoyan a la mujer, desde el mundo empresarial al mundo universitario, educativo, científico, siempre está. Tiene una agenda muy ocupada, pero ha querido estar aquí con nosotras y con nosotros, se lo agradecemos. Reis, a la que presentaré después, y Maru Zal, presidenta de ASAC, madre de niños con altas capacidades, socia de la asociación, con trabajo fuera de casa y que también lo hace todo y lo hace bien. No puedo decir otra cosa después de la presentación que hizo de mí. Voy a darle la palabra primero a Mar, va a ser muy breve para poder escuchar a Sally. Primero a Mar, después a Eva y después a Susana y luego escucharemos a la magistral conferencia y muy feminista, estoy segura, de la doctora Reis.
Bueno, voy a ser muy breve. Me toca en este momento hacer un balance de estos 3 días, que espero que se hayan cumplido vuestras expectativas. Desde luego las nuestras se han visto superadas. Y llega el momento de agradecer a todas esas personas que han estado en la parte logística, detrás para que todo funcionase y que no han podido disfrutar de este congreso. Los niños y las niñas que han estado en las salas, atentos a que no faltase nada, niños de la asociación, que quiero agradecerlos y decirles que esto se ha hecho por ellos, que ellos son el motivo. El equipo de secretaría, de organización, que estuvieron ahí al pie del cañón en todo momento. No voy a nombrarlos porque no tengo tiempo, pero todos ellos saben quiénes son. Los componentes de las mesas, los moderadores, todos que altruistamente han querido compartir con nosotros estos 3 días. Y bueno, gracias a nuestros ponentes, por supuesto. Ha sido increíble compartir con ellos. Gracias a las empresas que han querido poner su granito de arena para apoyar el talento. Todas ellas están en nuestro recuerdo. Y en este acto dedicado a la mujer, solo que me queda decir una cosa. Hemos tenido hombres trabajando en este evento, han estado ahí. Muchísimas gracias. Pero la gran mayoría de nuestro equipo, tanto científico como organizador, son mujeres. Mujeres de una capacidad de trabajo increíble, con un gran talento y con un afán de superación magnífico. Sin ellas hubiese sido imposible realizar este congreso. Para todas ellas sí que os pido vuestro aplauso.
¿Cómo? Vale, just a second. Tiene la palabra ahora doña Eva López Barrio, que es directora, coordinadora de Woman Emprende de la Universidad de Santiago de Compostela.
Gracias, profesora Carmen Compomar. Bueno, muchas gracias por la invitación y por dedicar el domingo a las mujeres y por participar con amigas, compañeras y poder cerrar este evento. La Estrategia Europea Horizonte 2020, que marca, entre otras, las hojas de ruta de las universidades, señala entre sus directrices y como uno de sus temas centrales estimular el crecimiento inteligente, sostenible e inclusivo. Ahora ya estaba tachando la palabra inclusivo después de la conferencia anterior. En el continente, conocimiento, sostenibilidad y diversidad son temas tratados en este Congreso de Altas Capacidades. En este sentido, las universidades, como agentes dinamizadores de cambio social, tenemos la obligación de participar activamente fomentando una sociedad igualitaria en la que mujeres y hombres gocen de los mismos privilegios y tengan acceso a las mismas oportunidades. Pero las universidades tenemos que hacer autocrítica. Cuando analizamos los datos sobre nuestros recursos humanos, observamos que las mujeres obtenemos el 45% de los doctorados, pero solo el 30% de los investigadores en activo son mujeres y solo ocupan el 18% de las cátedras. Podemos hablar de un despilfarro de talento que nos está costando corregir en el tiempo. Yo incluso añadiría que no estamos corrigiendo. Las universidades y las organizaciones científicas tenemos que considerar el género en nuestra gestión, ya que esto tendrá un impacto positivo en nuestras políticas y en nuestras prácticas de reclutamiento, promoción y retención de mujeres y de hombres, y que esto, a su vez, supondrá un beneficio para la calidad del servicio público que prestamos. Y no hay contradicción entre la promoción de la igualdad de género y la excelencia en la investigación, por ejemplo. Antes bien, al contrario, alcanzar una situación igualitaria repercutirá en la calidad de la ciencia que desarrollamos en nuestros laboratorios y, en consecuencia, en la transferencia que de la misma hagamos a la sociedad. Debemos abordar estos temas, pero no solo por razones de imparcialidad y de igualdad, sino también por el propio bien de la ciencia y de la investigación, para construir universidades fuertes y excelentes, y ello repercutirá también en la creación de empresas salidas de nuestras universidades, creando un tejido productivo de calidad, competente y competitivo a nivel internacional. En este sentido, la Universidad de Santiago de Compostela mantiene un compromiso firme y sostenido de apuesta por la integración del género en la investigación, en la innovación y en los procesos de transferencia de la ciencia a la sociedad, y particularmente en todos aquellos procesos que acompañan a la creación de las spin-off académicas. Este compromiso tiene su reflejo en los 2 planes de igualdad ya desarrollados como un principio de responsabilidad social de la universidad, de los que el segundo, aún vigente, finaliza este año. Y más concretamente en el ámbito que me ocupa, que es el de la transferencia y el emprendimiento, este compromiso se ha materializado a lo largo de los últimos 12 años de trabajo del programa Women Emprende, desde el año 2006. Compromiso reforzado en el año 2011 con la firma del convenio Innovatia entre la Universidad de Santiago y el Instituto de la Mujer y para la Igualdad de Oportunidades. La USC y el Instituto de la Mujer han trabajado conjuntamente en Innovatia con 2 objetivos fundamentales: fomentar el espíritu empresarial de las mujeres en el ámbito científico-tecnológico y, por otro lado, crear un modelo de intervención que integre la perspectiva de género en los procesos de transferencia de conocimiento y en el proceso de creación de empresas de base tecnológica. Trabajamos en 3 ámbitos: con las emprendedoras, mujeres científicas y estudiantes de últimos años de carrera que, con su conocimiento e ilusión, han sido asesoradas en el desarrollo de modelos de negocio; con el personal de las oficinas técnicas de transferencia de resultados, a los que se les ha facilitado un manual para la inclusión de la perspectiva de género en todos los procesos de transferencia y con los que ya se trabaja en una red temática alrededor de este instrumento y con todo lo que ello implica; y con las empresarias, que necesitan de un asesoramiento y apoyo continuo en las primeras etapas de la andadura empresarial. Fomentamos el emprendimiento de nuestras universitarias, ya que el emprendimiento de base tecnológica es también, como no podría ser de otra manera, asunto de mujeres. Y concluyo diciendo que las universidades del siglo XXI somos también agentes dinamizadores y generadores de emprendimiento integral responsable, y que debemos de aprovechar el talento y el potencial de nuestras universitarias y universitarios. Tanto la ciencia como el emprendimiento son asuntos de hombres y de mujeres, e incluir la perspectiva de género en nuestro trabajo diario implica tener en consideración las condiciones y las diferencias de unos y de otras. Bueno, y después de este discurso que os acabo de soltar, me gustaría pasar al plan, si me lo permite la moderadora Carmen, nombrar algunas de las personas que reflejan todo esto que acabamos de decir. ¿Cómo llega aquí Women Emprende a la unidad de altas capacidades? ¿Cómo nos conocemos y por qué estamos aquí? Bueno, la profesora Carmen Pomar es un poco la artífice de toda esta unión, y el emprendimiento, después de la anterior conferencia, tiene mucho que ver. con las altas capacidades. Lo tiene todo que ver y con las mujeres y con el talento femenino. Y son mujeres las que nos han acercado. Me gustaría nombrar a Marisa de Cuit, vicepresidenta de la Asociación de Altas Capacidades, que es una mujer empresaria y emprendedora. Y decir aquí en alto que toda aquella mujer o hombre que quiera montar una empresa debería de hablar previamente con ella. Ella reúne las características de mujer emprendedora, pues todas las que analizamos en Woman Emprende, que no vamos a poner aquí, pues se las sabe de memoria. Me gustaría también nombrar a la directora de Trisquel, a Lauriña, que es una empresa beneficiaria de las ayudas EMEGA, de la Secretaría Xeral de Igualdade, que hace 2 años recibió la ayuda de empresa de base científico-tecnológica y ahí sigue trabajando, luchando. Plazas agotadas ponía en las redes sociales hace poco. Y ya por último, ya para finalizar, bajo también la tutela de Carmen Pomar, se ha creado una spin-off académica, base tecnológica, hilando no hay ciencias ni letras, también es el conocimiento. Y la unidad de altas capacidades ha dado lugar a la empresa Latento, y quiero nombrar aquí a 3 mujeres magníficas que se han puesto al frente de la elaboración de un plan de empresa. Son psicólogas, son de altas capacidades, pero la cuenta de resultados, el plan de marketing, el plan de comunicación. Nombrar a Miriam Fernández, a Noelia Villaverde y a Paula Monzo, que están a vuestra disposición ahora en la empresa, la spin-off Latento. Y nada más, este es el trabajo que hacemos en las universidades, aparte de la docencia y de la investigación, también la transferencia, incluyendo la perspectiva de género. Muchas gracias.
Tiene la palabra la señora doña Susana López Abella, señora secretaria xeral de Igualdade da Xunta de Galicia. Es una pena, y voy a confesar, que el Congreso sea internacional y Susana no pueda hablar gallego todo el tiempo, porque es una de las personas a las que le he escuchado el gallego más bonito en mi vida, me parece. Así que la verdad es que en castellano habla bien, pero es que en gallego habla precioso.
Moitísimas gracias. Muy buenos días a todas y a todos. Muy buenos días. La verdad es que estoy feliz de estar hoy aquí y pido disculpas por no poder estar los 3 días porque me hubiera encantado, pero fue imposible modificar la agenda para poder estar y aprender con todas ustedes. Muchas gracias, Carmen. Quiero dar las gracias al comité científico de la organización de este primer Congreso Internacional Noroeste de Altas Capacidades. Espero y deseo, porque es sumamente necesario, que haya un segundo congreso, y si es en Galicia mejor, que me perdonen las personas que vienen de otras comunidades autónomas. Gracias, Carmen, de verdad. Muchas gracias. Y a la presidenta del comité organizador, Maruzal, por este magnífico congreso, insisto. Como secretaria xeral de Igualdad de la Xunta de Galicia, del Gobierno autonómico, quisiera felicitarlas y felicitarles doblemente por decidir que el día de hoy, ya lo hizo Eva también, como broche final a 3 días intensos del Congreso, se dedique al talento femenino. Las investigadoras y la realidad educativa demuestran que el perfil de las niñas y mujeres con altas capacidades es un perfil marcado por el enmascaramiento y el camuflaje en el que tienden a adaptarse para pasar desapercibidas y llegan incluso a sentimientos de culpa cuando acceden a puestos de relevancia y de poder. Esto no es nuevo para nosotras, no solo en este ámbito, sino en otros muchos. Ayer estuve en las CIES con más de 500 mujeres de distintos ámbitos, del medio rural, del medio urbano, y ese sentimiento de culpa por pasar un día fuera de sus casas y dejar al margen pues sus tareas cotidianas, su trabajo, o sea, las llenaba de culpabilidad. Y digo, ¿pero cómo es posible? Nos sentimos culpables todavía como mujeres en todos los ámbitos. La doctora y profesora Sally Reis nos hablará seguramente mucho más de este tema, porque es una científica magnífica. He podido leer algo antes de llegar aquí, pero, insisto, es doloroso que nos sigamos sintiendo culpables. Y es tan importante que los hombres se sumen, se hagan corresponsables, la sociedad en general, corresponsables de que esto es una cuestión de derechos humanos. Lo decía antes Eva, no es una cuestión de que vaya a mejorar la calidad de vida y que sea una cuestión bueno, pues de dignidad que nos corresponde a las mujeres en todos los ámbitos, en el científico, en el tecnológico, en la universidad, en el ámbito de la empresa, en el ámbito de la política, en todos los ámbitos. Es una cuestión de que las sociedades mejoran muchísimo. Pero aún a día de hoy, después de todo lo que se ha caminado, muchos niños, se siguen detectando muchísimos más casos de niños con altas capacidades que de niñas. ¿Nos creemos que las niñas que hay un porcentaje menor de niñas con altas capacidades? No. Las estadísticas del Ministerio de Educación corroboran este dato, ya que de los 23.745 alumnos identificados con altas capacidades en el curso 2015-2016, solo 8.457 eran mujeres. Las diferencias empiezan ya en infantil, cuando hay 201 niños identificados y solo 51 niñas, 4 veces menos. En primaria son 4.410 chicas frente a 12.468 chicos. En ESO, 3.057 frente a 8.597. Y en bachillerato, 827 frente a 2.383 chicos. ¿Por qué estas diferencias? Bueno, no quiero extenderme porque no me toca a mí este papel, pero según expertos psicólogos, las mujeres se ven obligadas a ocultar sus talentos para sobrevivir socialmente. La necesidad de agradar predomina habitualmente sobre sus altas capacidades intelectuales. No obstante, la mujer con alta inteligencia tiene clara consciencia de sus propias capacidades y las valora, pero en la intimidad. Prefiere no mostrarlas en público por miedo al rechazo social. Es algo que se sabe, pero no se dice ni se demuestra. Es por ello que el diagnóstico en niñas, adolescentes y mujeres adultas es mínimo. Ellas saben que son diferentes y más rápidas intelectualmente que el resto de sus compañeros y de sus compañeras, pero esta cualidad se puede convertir en su peor enemigo. Esta es una realidad. La mayoría de ellas prefieren silenciarse para no molestar. En ocasiones, esta actitud de camuflaje puede estar dirigida a limitar el daño emocional que puede producirles el no alcanzar sus propios objetivos por esa ansia de perfección, generándoles una sensación de fracaso. De ahí la importancia de regular los niveles de autoexigencia a través de un concepto más realista sobre el fracaso y las expectativas autoimpuestas. Considero que la ausencia de personajes femeninos destacados y de altas capacidades es un factor también importante. Los libros de texto carecen de estos referentes y la sociedad en general los desconoce. De verdad, les puedo asegurar que nos estamos empeñando con la Consellería de Educación y Cultura en que esto se modifique, que haya referentes. Estoy viendo para Elena Vázquez Zendón, que es una también de las grandes convencidas y siempre está con el látigo diciendo hay que mejorar en este ámbito, porque es necesario que las niñas tengan referentes y los niños que tengan referentes femeninos, porque los hay, no pueden estar ocultos. Y creo que esto es importante. Cuando pensamos en mujeres superdotadas o que hayan destacado a lo largo de la historia, lo normal es que no nos vengan demasiados nombres a la cabeza, al menos dentro de la historia que nos han enseñado. Y esto tiene que modificarse. Sin duda, la desigualdad que afecta a las mujeres es producto de una realidad compleja, multidimensional, a lo que hace falta hacer frente desde una perspectiva también multidisciplinar y con la implicación del conjunto de la sociedad. La sociedad tiene que ser corresponsables. Termino ya diciendo lo que siempre insisto que debemos de decir. Las mujeres sumamos talento y abrimos camino, por lo que es fundamental seguir apoyando el liderazgo femenino y la presencia de las mujeres en todas las esferas de la sociedad, incluyendo los puestos de decisión e influencia. Gracias, Carmen, de verdad, por la organización de este congreso, por dedicarnos hoy este domingo. Yo creo que tendría que ser ya, algo institucional, efectivamente. Las mujeres trabajamos en industrias, escuelas, hospitales. Casi no existen áreas donde no estemos, donde no esté el género femenino, donde no haya incursionado. Sin embargo, aún destacar como líder en el mundo actual es complicado, es difícil. No resulta tan fácil para la mujer y muchas veces no se le reconoce sus capacidades en ese campo. Y ya no entremos, que no voy a entrar, que sería habrá otro, lo que penaliza aún hoy que una mujer quiera ser madre, se quede embarazada, lo que la penaliza en su carrera, sea científica, sea judicial, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera. Bueno, para concluir, y haciendo un repaso por la historia hasta la actualidad, la mujer ha despegado, ha demostrado que tiene fortaleza y que cuenta con las habilidades propias del liderazgo. Tenemos mujeres presidentas, diputadas, gerentes de grandes empresas, pero tenemos que seguir adelante porque no podemos despistarnos ni un solo instante. Cuando se ha hecho, hemos visto que ha habido un retroceso. El liderazgo femenino significa, de algún modo, humanizar las organizaciones. La mujer es un cargo directivo, puede aportar su talento y además modelos en los que la razón y emoción puedan trabajar de forma eficiente. Los equipos tienen que estar compuestos por hombres y mujeres. Es lo ideal, es lo perfecto. Visión, por un lado, femenina, masculina, perfectamente engranada. Si falta una de las partes, no vamos bien. Y se está demostrando que no vamos muy bien. En fin, el Gobierno de la Xunta ha asumido un firme compromiso con la sociedad gallega en pro de la igualdad de derechos y oportunidades entre mujeres y hombres. Y acabo con esta cita, ahora sí, de verdad. Tus pasos quedarán, mira para atrás, pero ves siempre hacia adelante, pues hay muchos que necesitan que llegues para poder seguirte. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, si fue difícil presentar al profesor Josep Renzulli y acumulando cansancio de estos días, más difícil aún es presentar a una mujer como Sally Reis. Quizá tengamos que empezar a hablar de esos referentes a los que aludía la secretaria xeral de Igualdade y tener a Sally Reis como una de las referencias en el campo educativo. Sally Reis es ha sido vicerrectora de Asuntos Académicos en la Universidad de Connecticut, Estados Unidos, y profesora distinguida de la Junta de Fideicomisarios y profesora, como digo, de Psicología de la Educación en la Universidad de Connecticut. Actualmente tiene la cátedra Leticia Nerk de Psicología Educativa. Fue maestra de escuela pública y administradora 15 años antes de su trabajo en esta universidad. Es autora de más de 250 artículos, libros, capítulos de libros, monografías e informes técnicos. Ha viajado y viaja extensamente por todo el país, dice su currículum, yo aseguro que por todo el mundo. Nunca sé si están en Singapur, en Tokio o en Suecia, realizando talleres y proporcionando desarrollo profesional para distritos escolares en programas de enriquecimiento y de equidad de género. Es miembro del Consejo Editorial del Gifted Child Quarterly y expresidenta del National Association for Gifted Children. Es miembro de la Asociación Americana de Psicología y fue nombrada distinguida académica de la Asociación Nacional para Niños Dotados. Tiene el premio Early Leader por servicio activo y destacado de la Asociación Nacional para Niños Dotados y el premio Distinguished Service por el servicio sobresaliente de la Asociación Nacional para Niños Dotados. Como dije, cuando presenté a Josep Renzulli, leer todas las publicaciones sería imposible, pero junto con él ha publicado The Schoolwide Enrichment Model, How to Guide for Talent Development, Enrichment Clusters, A Practical Plan for Real-World Student-Driven Learning, y The Joyful Reading Resource Kit, Teaching Tools, Hands-on Activities and Enrichment Resources Grades. Y también una de sus obras fundamentales es Enrichment Curriculum for All Students. Pero ante todo, Sally es madre, es esposa, es mujer, tiene 2 hijas y, como dice ella, tiene la suerte de ser abuela en breve, o va a ser abuela en breve, de 2 nietas gemelas. Así que el profesor Renzulli ha demostrado que es un genio en muchas cosas, pero sobre todo es un genio porque está rodeado de mujeres. Gracias, Sally, por estar con nosotros, es un verdadero honor.
I will bring another thing here for a moment. One moment.
Okay. Good morning. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for your hospitality and kindness to my husband and me. This is our third trip to Galicia, and each time we come, we are struck by the kindness of the people, the beauty of the surroundings, and the warmth with which we are received. So we hope that someday some of you will be able to come to America and see the hospitality that we would provide. It would probably only be a fraction of what we've experienced here. So thank you for your kindness and your lovely spirits, and it's a pleasure for us to be here, a deep pleasure. Today I'm going to be speaking about a topic of which I've been interested and fascinated for over 30 years. So 30 years ago I published an article on gifted girls, and it was called "You Can't Change What You Don't Recognize." And that particular article was the result of a number of years of work. I became interested in this topic because when I graduated from high school, I noticed a very big difference between the young women that graduated with me and the boys that graduated with me. The boys in my high school class, which was a class for academically talented students, the boys did extremely well. They went on and got doctorates, they got masters, they went to the best universities, but the young women in my class did not do anywhere near as well professionally. And I've been interested and engaged in this topic ever since. I've published several articles, conducted any number of research studies. I'm still working on it. This year at the University of Connecticut, I'll be starting a project for young female leaders called the BOLD Project, where we'll be identifying young women to participate in leadership training. So this is an area I've never really left. Joe and I have two daughters, and my oldest daughter is about to give birth to twins, and she's having two girls. So this will be a part of the fabric of our life for a long, long time. The reason I entitled the talk I'm about to give "Talent Denied and Talent Lost" is because of things that have continued to concern me. So I'll just read you some recent headlines from top newspapers across the globe, and these all occurred within the last few years. The first headline is, "America's vitriol towards Clinton reveals a nation mired in misogyny." So that was the headline right after the American election in 2016. A second headline, "Female ambition is still considered ugly." Why is the ambition in women ugly? It's another headline. A third headline, 15 challenges that female leaders face and how they can overcome them. And yet another headline, "Donald Trump paid off 3 additional women after having affairs with them." These are not the kind of headlines we should be reading in the year 2018. When I published my book 20 years ago, I thought that in 2 or 3 decades, things would be so much better for smart women and smart girls. But yet, as you heard today, they still face so many challenges. I'd like to talk about just a few of those challenges. And again, thinking about the context of the news and the times in which we live. Across our globe, nearly 70% of the world's poorest individuals are women. And why is that? They don't earn enough money in their lifetime to support themselves in their old age, mainly. Of the world's nearly 1 billion illiterate adults, 2/3 are women. Women make up less than 13% of the world's parliaments and less than 10% of political party leaders. A tiny fraction of the top CEOs, the top executives of Fortune 500 companies in the United States are women. 5 years ago, it was 6%. Today, it is 3% of the top leaders of the top companies in the United States. Only 20 women currently serve as heads of their country, presidents, chancellors. But what is the news reporting on constantly? Do you hear about women in leadership? No, you hear about Serena Williams getting angry at an umpire for what she considered sexism. This is the kind of press that we still endure in our country and in your country, and there are many examples of this. Let's look at the United Nations. Of 193 diplomats to the UN, only 30 are women. But in the powerhouse of the UN, the Security Council, there were 6 women in 2014. 6 women in 2014, 4 women in 2015, and 1 woman today, 1 woman in 2018. I don't know how you feel about that, but I would feel much better if there were more women on the Security Council that makes a decision about who goes to war and what the peace problems of our country and our nation should be. What does that say about peace building when we have so few women in leadership in these important bodies? Samantha Powers, who was the UN diplomat during the 8 years of Obama's term, said this: "It's important to look at the Security Council and see only 1 woman in 2016. That is simply crazy. There have been no women secretary generals of the General Assembly in over 70 years. And why is that? Why is it important that we have more women at the top and more women at the table? It's important because each of these women is symbolic. When young girls visit the UN and see a Security Council with 1 woman ambassador, she thinks that's normal, and that's not normal. When 53% of the population of our world are women, there should be more than 1 woman sitting on the UN security panel. There should be more. And that's a refrain that you'll hear over and over again today. There should be more. What happened to all of the women ambassadors from countries that are coming to the US all over the world? In 2013, there were 27 female ambassadors. Today, there are only 16. So the trend is going in the wrong direction. To date, out of 900 Nobel Prize winners, 900, there have only been 43 women that have won a Nobel Prize. I can fit every Nobel Prize winner on 1 transparency. Let me say that again. 900 Nobel Prizes, only 43 women. I can fit them all on 1 slide. That's a problem. There should be more. Even in areas in which women are supposed to excel, such as writing and the arts, painting, photography, men win more awards, men write more books, men publish more articles, and men excel in almost all professional areas. Of all of the Pulitzer Prize winners, all of them in writing, only 113 of over 800 were given to women, and this is in an area where we're supposed to do better than men. There should be more. From 1809 to 2000, only 1 in 1,000 patents was issued to a female inventor. Let me say that again. 1 in 1,000 patents issued to a female inventor. And even now, almost 2 decades later, 90% of all patents today currently are held by men. There should be more. Early in my work, I spent about 10 years studying external barriers in women. You heard some of them today. Women feel guilty when they work. They feel guilty about leaving their children, despite the fact for over 3 decades, research has shown that the children of women who work are better adjusted, they get more degrees, they finish college at higher levels, and they feel very proud of their parents. And I should say this, I believe in women's choice to work in their homes or in their businesses or professionally. What we fought for in the women's movement was choice. Choice for women to do the things that were important to them. I just believe that women should not look back with regrets at opportunities that they didn't pursue. They must choose things that make them feel happy and feel proud. So early on in my work, I identified a number of external barriers. These are barriers in television, in movies, in the photographs we see, in the books that we read, in the newspapers that we read. And so think of your brain as a tiny camera with thousands of photographs that come in every day. And these photographs start to change your image of yourself. There's sometimes stereotypes that you don't even realize exist because you've seen them so many times. So for example, a very famous man, very, very rich and famous man, wrote an article about a kindergarten awards ceremony he attended with his daughter, who was a kindergarten student. And this is a very well-meaning teacher who gave awards. But can you see the differences in the boys' awards and the girls' awards? Boys got best thinker, most imaginative, most scientific, hardest worker. Girls got all-around sweetheart, cutest, biggest heart, best mannered. Well-mannered women don't make history. Let me say that again. Well-mannered women don't make history. Sometimes it's all right to call people out on their actions. I raised 2 daughters, and one of them isn't always well-mannered. But she's proud, and she's successful, and the times she's chosen to speak out, it's made a difference. Sometimes she's spoken out in defense of her best friend who was gay. Other times she spoke out in defense of people who were poor or people who needed help. I'm proud of her for not always being polite. I didn't raise her to always be polite. While I don't want to be controversial, I want you to understand how important it is for women to feel they can speak out. In the United States, girls are besieged with messages from the magazines, from the newspaper, about how they should look and what they should wear and how they should date and how they should kiss boys. And these messages on the most popular girls' magazines talk about dates and makeup and their bodies and the things that are less important than their character and their intelligence and their belief in themselves. I believe that for years, these kinds of external barriers, Cosmopolitan magazine, have negatively influenced creative development. This is not the role model I want for my daughters. This is not the way most women look. This kind of role model doesn't help generate a set of philosophical beliefs that's essential to creative development. And over again, we see these barriers that influence creative development. Let's just think about changing this. All right, let's change that. Let's change this. And let's think about role models like Jk Rowling, who was afraid to use her first name when she published Harry Potter. She used JK because she thought if people knew she was a woman, she would not have the popularity she had in the publishing world. How sad is that in the 21st century that we have to worry about this still? So the external barriers are magazines, television, dieting. Life's about the way women look, the men they date, the men they marry. And these affect us, and they affect us in so much of a way that we sometimes don't even realize it. So for example, the year I was finishing writing my book, that took me 3 or 4 years to write, I got a newspaper article from one of my graduate students who lived in New Jersey. And this is what I opened. When I opened the envelope, this is the photograph I saw. The immediate thought that went through my head is, why is my friend sending me a photograph of a beauty contest? Instead, she was sending me a newspaper clipping about the Intel Science Awards. The top 3 winners in New Jersey were all girls for the first time. And what did I think when I saw the photograph? I immediately thought, even though I'd been working on a book on gifted females for 4 years, I thought she was sending me a photograph of a beauty contest. You can't change the images that have been set in your brain. We all have them. They are all a part of us. And so I want to applaud the women of Spain, because something happened that was very interesting very recently. This photograph was printed in all of the Spanish newspapers about the new prime minister unveiling the largest percentage of females in any cabinet in the world. Bravo. But what happened after this photograph was published? Do you remember this? One of the leading newspapers in Spain published an article called "The Wardrobe of Pedro Sanchez's Women Ministers." And they indicated that one of the ministers should wear more makeup, and they gave tips about clothing to most of the other female ministers. And the women in Spain wrote letters, called, protested, and I'm sure some of the men did as well, saying this is inappropriate. But this shouldn't have to happen in 2018. We shouldn't still be protesting people talking about their looks. Instead, we should be applauding the Prime Minister for having more women at the table. More women changes discussions. More women at the table brings up different points of view, brings up characteristics of caring and of justice and of peace and of hunger, of changes. And congratulations to Spain for this. Now, I think it's important to realize that in the US we talk in the US all the time about how liberal we are and how many women have done so well. We are the home of the women's movement of the 1960s and 70s. But in the US, only 19% of women hold seats in our Congress. And compare this to the other countries. And by the way, most of the other countries with the largest percentages of women in government have the best maternity leaves, the best child care leaves. So again, congratulations to Spain. You're doing much better than we are in the US. But what does this mean? Again, external barriers. This was an advertisement campaign for a pen company in the US. It lasted 1 week. It says, look like a girl, act like a lady, think like a man, work like a boss. This was 2017. We shouldn't still be having to argue these points. In the US, women continue to earn only 80 cents on a dollar for the same jobs. Black women earn only 60 cents, and Hispanics only 55 cents for every dollar paid to a white male. So we continue to have salary discrepancies. Joe and I were in Croatia last year, and this was an advertisement on every billboard in Croatia. And I was talking to some of the women in Croatia saying, how do you handle this all over? This is not the kind of advertisement you want for young girls in your country. Again, it's fine to be able to go to the beach, but no, 99.9% of people don't look like this. And even she doesn't look like this. She's airbrushed. She's made up. They make her thinner. The point being that this is time to say we stop objectifying women for what they look like, and we start thinking about who they are and what they're thinking about. Again, in our country, female musicians are drastically underrepresented. There's hardly any, there's no female musical directors. I have never in my life seen a female conductor. There are very few female pilots. We could go on in every occupation. So this is a cartoon saying, oh, a rare photo of a man telling everybody what to do. In the US, SAT scores are still, boys still do better than girls on SATs. The test that gets you into college. And why does this matter? Because most scholarships are affected by SATs. But let me tell you that when research has been done on this, when they eliminate the time on the SAT test, girls do just as well. So when they're not timed, girls do better. And do you know why? Girls check their work. They think about other solutions. They take time to carefully consider their answers. Boys guess. So in these particular areas, these are the things we've been studying in the United States for a long time. But look at this. Under President Trump's administration, this was the signing, this was the group that deliberated on the United States health bill. What don't you see in that photograph? Not one female senator or congressman, not one, talking about women's health, pregnancy, child care leave. Come on, this is 2018. Here's the signing of that bill. What don't you see? So in the US, I think I have to start talking about this more than I ever have before, because these barriers continue to exist. We continue to see few role models. We continue to see fewer creative development in women. And when we don't see women in these areas, we don't see creative potential developed in women. I also studied a series of internal barriers to women's talent development. So what are some of these internal developments, internal barriers? One is women think they have to be super women. They have to do everything well. It's exhausting to try to do everything well, exhausting. And I would just tell you, a long time ago, I learned to work on the things I do well and stop worrying about the things that I don't do well. The secret to success is identifying what you do well and reveling in it, and stop trying to do the things you don't do well. And stop trying to do everything. It's exhausting. Also, the creation of a feminine identity about achievement. Women can be high achievers and should be high achievers. We should see more of them in every area in our lives. Women need to be more resilient. We need to take offense much less. We need to understand we can't work on everything. We have to stop trying to show multi-potentiality. In barriers facing talented women, we have to understand fear of success. In my research, I've found women aren't afraid of success, but they're afraid of what might accompany success. I might be too busy to be a good mother. I might be too busy to be a good spouse. I might be too busy to spend the time doing things that I want to do. But I'm here to tell you that there are different time frames for high levels of accomplishment. I had the opportunities to serve as the third highest executive at my university. I was in charge of all academic affairs. This was not a job I could have done when my girls were young, but it was a job I relished when my girls were older, and it's a job that I loved doing when I had the time. I couldn't have done it at 40 or 50, but I did extremely well at it when I was in my early 60s. I think also there's a fear of success, maybe not finding a partner who understands or supports you. The most important choice a woman will ever make is a choice of a partner. And sometimes we don't ask the right questions. We sometimes choose somebody for the way they look, or for the things that are important to them, the kind of car they drive, the kind of way they dress, the way they project themselves, as opposed to choosing somebody for their character and their kindness and their support of each other. And I think these are the most important things. I've been blessed by my partner in life. And too many women that I have studied have had partners that don't support their success. Finding a partner that supports your success, as my friends have, as Laura has, as I've had, is the greatest gift you can give. And these are the things you have to teach your daughters and your students. Asking questions about how you feel about working, both people working, about following your dreams. Women still hide their abilities more than they ever should. They doubt their abilities, they hide their abilities, they're afraid of so many different things. And I think, again, it is time to change this. Think a little bit about what would have happened if Jk Rowling had hid her abilities. In so many ways, the hiding abilities is something that we actually almost laugh about. Jane Austen in Northanger Abbey wrote this: "A woman, especially if she has the misfortune of knowing anything, should conceal it as well as she can." However, this was not the real Jane Austen. The real Jane Austen invented Elizabeth Bennet, who never concealed her intelligence. So in many ways, we have to understand that hiding one's abilities is not even something 17th century women did. Why then do little girls hide their abilities? Because they feel negative pressure by others when they appear to be smart. Our youngest daughter was very, very bright. Of all 4 of our children, she was the only one identified as gifted. She takes after me. That's a joke. That's a joke. No, that's a joke, actually. But she read when she was 3 years old. But when she went into school, she hid the fact that she could read from her kindergarten teacher. She had read a whole series of books before entering kindergarten, but she came home with a book that had a picture and 1 word under it. And she had finished the Little House on the Prairie series before entering school. And I said, "Liza, why aren't you telling your teacher that you can read?" And she said, "Because most of the other children can't read, and I don't want to hurt their feelings." So children hide their abilities for all kinds of reasons. Not to hurt other children. Many times they hide their abilities because they don't want to appear to be bossy, or they don't want to stand out. Also, 2 American psychologists talk about the imposter syndrome, and I see this every single day. Imposter syndrome means that men attribute their success to personal factors, their abilities, their talents, their effort. Women attribute their success to luck or timing. So if you compliment a little boy, the little boy says, "Thank you," or "I know." So good job, Joe, thank you. You compliment a little girl and they refuse the compliment. "Oh, I could have done better. I was lucky. It wasn't so good." The same happens when we compliment adult women. "Oh, you did an excellent job on that presentation." "No, the ending wasn't very good. The beginning wasn't very good." You compliment a woman on her appearance. "I like your dress." She says, "I got it on sale." "I like your hair." "Oh, I like your hair. Oh my God, it's horrible." Women have been taught by society not even to accept a compliment. And so I have to disagree with some of the current research about mindset that says praise children for effort. Young girls should be praised for their talents. They need to hear it over and over and over again. "You're smart, you're intelligent," because only then will they be able to start to internalize the fact that it is okay to be intelligent, that it's appropriate to be intelligent. Many young women get different messages from home and school. They are told by their parents to be one way and in school to be another way. They're praised for being polite. They're praised for giving up their time at the computer to somebody else. They're praised for being modest. We teach young women modesty. Too many women have self-doubt issues. Again, way too many women have self-doubt issues. And women are taught to think that the most important choice they will make in the future is about finding Prince Charming. But too often, Prince Charming doesn't end up being a prince at all, particularly when women choose men or partners and women for the wrong reasons. Jk Rowling was plagued with self-doubt issues throughout most of her life. And recently, a Hewlett-Packard internal report, found that men will apply for a promotion when they meet about half of the qualifications, but women will only apply if they meet 100% of the qualifications. This is why I believe women have fewer patents. They will check their work, they will wait, they will double check, they don't want to take anybody else's work. They're so worried about being seen as somebody who's copied an idea. So in many ways, women are afraid to try. They are way, way less self-confident. This, of course, is Jk Rowling. This is Julia Child. Julia Child, one of the most famous cooks, and most famous cooks in the world, and the author of one of the best-selling books in the world. Again, one of the best-selling books in the world, Joy of Cooking, was made fun of and teased because of her looks and her voice. When you look at women across the country, in a study done by a psychologist, American psychologist, of 1 million men and women, across every cultural group, men have higher self-esteem than women. And it's the gap in self-esteem in men and women is the broadest and the most educated societies. Let me say that again. Women's self-esteem in the most educated societies is the lowest. Now, how do you explain that? Why does that happen? Why are constant doubts? So just a little bit from my writings and my work on talented women. I studied older, talented women, women who achieved eminence after 50 for a decade. I studied American women pioneers, top businessmen, top mathematicians, politicians, scientists, senators, and this is what I found they had in common. This is my definition of talent in women. They all had above average abilities, Joe's definition of giftedness. They all had similar personality traits. They were determined, they were motivated, they were patient, they were creative. They all took safe risks. They tried things that were a little bit scary for them. They all had certain environmental factors, family support. They found the time to do their work. When I was writing my book, our daughters were young, and I went to work every day. I came home, I had dinner with them, and then for about 6 months, I said to them, I'm going to go downstairs to my study, to my office, every night from Monday to Thursday night, and Daddy's going to help you with your homework for the next 6 months because Mommy's writing a book. And for the first month, they came down every night and interrupted me, and I sent them back upstairs to their father. I said, this is Mommy's time. Mommy's time. Daddy's going to help you. Go upstairs, find Daddy. Then I started locking the door. Do you know what happened? After 6 months, my book was done. I was a happier person, and my daughters had a closer relationship to their father than they had ever had. They were closer to him for the rest of their lives because I had before done everything with them. I shared him, and indeed, I got to do my book. Point being, you have to have the time and support for your own creativity. The other very big difference in the talented women that I studied is that all of them believed that their talents would make a difference in the world. They all believed that they had something inside of them that would make the world a better place. When you study talented women, they all say the same thing: I want to make the world a better place. And that's why we need more of them realizing their talents. The other thing that was critical is in the middle, and that is they had a desire to develop their talents. And please note that I believe the realization of talent in women happens in many areas: in the arts, in academia, in literature, in research, in social causes. I also believe in maternal and family giftedness. We would not have Thomas Edison if his mother didn't homeschool him. We would not have Einstein if his mother and his sister weren't his primary teachers. So many of the people who excel in our world excel because of the women who support them. And these also are heroines in our life, and they should be celebrated. So those of us who choose to stay home with our children, those of us who are mothers who are supporting gifted children, we are making important contributions, and that should be celebrated as well. I think in so many ways, the talent development of women in all of these areas will be much more realized when we can be supportive of each other's choices. Again, we need more of us doing this. The other theory that I've talked about a great deal is called an article I've written. It's very often cited on creativity. Talks a little bit about how women's creativity, unless we're careful, women's creativity can actually be so diversified that there's never time to focus it. So for example, men focus their creativity usually on two things: their work and their families. Women's creativity is so scattered. We focus it on our spirituality, our friendships, our service to others, our interests, our hobbies, our personal appearances, our home tasks, decorating, stretching budgets, scheduling, organizing. And when you want to be in a period of high creativity, there should just be some time where you can focus. So the story of my book: there's nothing wrong with taking 6 months for a special project where you don't focus your creativity on everything, but rather you focus it on two things: work and family. That's fine, it's good, but you have to do it purposefully. This is one of my husband's favorite cartoons. It's a woman CEO, and she's standing up in front of a whole table of men who report to her, and she has 2 laundry baskets on the table. And she's saying, "I'm sure no one will mind if we fold a few clothes while we talk." So the point being, women multitask all the time. We're always doing, some of you right now are on your phones thinking about the doctor's appointments you have for your children tomorrow. You're thinking about what you have to do when you get home. You're thinking about the birthday party you have to go to this afternoon. You're thinking about, do you have groceries for tomorrow? You're thinking about, is there milk in the refrigerator? We're constantly doing that. There has to be some time where you can focus on your creative work. And you know what? Again, it will not harm anyone if you do that. You'll be a good role model to your children. You'll be a good role model to others. So, these are some of the problems. What are some of my recommendations? First of all, we need societal changes. We need to think a little bit about how society impacts on talented women. We need to think about the voices. 2 women walk into the restaurant together. The maitre d' says, "I'm sorry, we only serve men in this room." One of the women says, "Good, bring us 2." So, societal changes. We need to help girls identify and overcome the barriers that I mentioned. The barriers. It is not a bad thing to be ambitious. It is not a bad thing to have a dream. It is not a bad thing to be creative, to pursue your talents. We need to have young girls identify their strengths and also re-examine the ways in which they define success. What is success to you? Being a great teacher is a wonderful job for a talented woman. But if you want another role, what is success to you? And at what stage in your life can you do this? Again, different timing. Girls need a written plan. They need a written plan, and I'll talk more about this in a minute. I think also we need to get the focus off of appearance. This is two little girls looking at a scale, and one of them says, "Don't step on it, it makes you cry." In a recent study in the United States, 80% of 8 to 10-year-old Girl Scouts were on diets. 80%. At 8 years old, little girls should be thinking about their school, their running, their play, their games, their happiness, not their bodies. Not their bodies. They should be thinking about having a plan for their future. What do I love? What actions should I take to be able to do what I love? What didn't I enjoy that I don't want to do again? What's my vision for my future? What are my goals? What are my plans? This is our 30-year-old daughter. When she was 10 years old, she said to her father and me, "I would die if I had to go work in an office like you do every day. I would die." And I said, "Good. Make a plan so you don't have to work in an office." She's a video film editor. She works from home. She flies all over the world. She's an artist. She's an actress. She's poor, but she's happy. So make a plan. The other thing I have to say, and this is a painful thing for me to say, but women oftentimes are their own worst enemies. Women don't support each other. Women criticize each other too much. We get enough criticism from men. We don't need it from each other. We need to form a support system for girls and for women. We need to be able to understand the support that we offer each other gets us through our very hardest times. Throughout my life, I've been surrounded by female support. I have 3 wonderful sisters. I had a mother who died recently who thought I was wonderful. She never criticized me, never. Well, she thought I should spend more time with her, but besides that, she never criticized me. I have colleagues that are tremendously supportive. So in difficult times, I know I can count on other women. We need to give that support to each other. I love this, behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back. Wouldn't it be great to think about that all the time, that you have other people to talk to, that you won't be criticized by others? These are a huge recommendation that can make a difference, so that when you are doing something that's really important to you, you have other women that can help take care of your children. You have other women that can help you with your house, with your responsibilities. We all need sabbaticals every once in a while to do the work that's meaningful and important to us. I think one of the most important things for us to remember is that we need to also talk to young girls about the barriers and help them to avoid too early romantic relationships. I love my romantic relationship. I am deeply in love with my husband, but I found him when I was 36, not when I was 15 or 16 or 18. I'm not saying, I don't mean to offend anybody. There are some marriages that work out when you meet somebody when you're 15 or 16, but my research about talented women shows me that mostly they begin to understand who they are and what they want when they're in their late 20s, 26, 27, 28. That's who when you come into understanding, your metacognition develops, your belief about yourself develops, your goals develop. if you have a very early romantic relationship, you're less likely to go to college, less likely to go to graduate school. So it's fine to fall in love, but have that person understand you need to wait to get married and have children until you're done with your education. Fulfill your dream first, and then have a relationship, or then get married. So I love this cartoon. It's a little girl singing, "Someday my prince will come, someday my prince will come." She looks over at her mother. Her mother gives her a very, very tough look, and she says, "After college, I mean." And her mother says, "Good girl." So delaying romantic relationships, the greatest interferer of talent development, the greatest barrier to talent development in women is a too early romantic relationship, too early. Because once you get married and have children, you will never be first again for at least 20 years, maybe 30 years. So delaying this for a while. And also, I disagree with Carol Dweck. I don't think we should praise girls for their effort. I think we have to praise their intelligence. We have to tell our daughters, "You're smart, you're talented." Smart people embrace challenge. The most talented people find work they love, and they work very hard, but they love their work, so they never think of it as work. I think if we praise only effort, it's negative. If you praise a girl's effort all the time, she's going to think, "I'm not that smart." And I think these are critical things to understand. So what are some things that you can do as teachers? In the United States, we celebrate women's history 1 month every year. We should celebrate it every month, but at least for 1 month of every year, we celebrate women's history. And by the way, in the United States, history really is his story. There are no women in American history books, except Pocahontas and Eleanor Roosevelt. And now Hillary Clinton will only be a footnote in our history books. Women's History Month is something you could start in Spain. You look at what has been done in the United States. It's such an incredible site. This website for women's history is amazing. My husband knows this, but I am obsessed with Rachel Carson. Rachel Carson went to my college. Rachel Carson is the first ecologist in the United States. She took on the chemical industry. She died of cancer because she was fighting the use of pesticides. She wrote the book Silent Spring, which the New York Times has said is one of the most important books in the history of our world. And very few people even know her name, Rachel Carson, Rachel Carson, Rachel Carson. We need to re-educate young girls. We need curriculum changes. We need more awareness programs. We need opportunities for young girls to go to seminars, to listen to female leaders. We need to see female presidents of universities. We need to see female full professors. We need female prime ministers. And in the United States, we need a female president more than ever. We need awareness programs. I love this nursery rhyme. You've probably all heard it. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill assumed the throne. This is the way we taught this nurse. This is not the way that it really goes. It says, "And Jill came tumbling after." We changed these nursery rooms. We need curriculum changes. We need opportunities for female role models. We need opportunities for women to make a difference in every way. We need to understand how women do best, what kinds of classes they live in. And for smart girls, this is what they need. They need exposure to female role models. They need a female mentor. Let me tell you one story about last year at the university, 2 years ago at the University of Connecticut. I met a young woman who was sent to me by her professor because she was about to drop out of pre-med. She had taken her first really, really hard class at UConn, organic chemistry, and she got a B. And I said to her, why would you drop out? A B is a very good grade. And she said, I can't be a doctor if I get a B. And I said to her, you know what they call doctors that get Bs? And she said, what? And I said, doctor. You know what they call people that get Cs? Presidents. They call them senators. The point being that the boys in her class had gotten Bs and Cs, and they blamed the teacher. The test was too hard. The professor wasn't good. She blamed herself. I spent the next 3 years being her mentor. I met with her once a month. I encouraged her. I told her she could do it. All I did was see her for coffee once a month. And guess what? This year, she started an MD, PhD program at the University of Connecticut. Very competitive. And guess what? She did that with a B in organic chemistry. The point being is young women need role models. They need positive self-perception. They need career counseling, and they need to learn from their mistakes and realize they can try again. They need to study the lives of eminent women and, again, avoid serious early romantic relationships. So on my PowerPoint, I have a series of recommendations for counselors, I have recommendations for teachers, and I have recommendations for parents. And I will leave these recommendations with Carmen and to ask them to put them on the website. But let me just say, it is so important to have female teachers that expose young girls to other talented women. Young women can learn from bibliotherapy, reading books about famous women. When I was growing up, I loved books on Helen Keller. I read books on Eleanor Roosevelt. And thanks to my friend Laura, she found any number of Spanish books that you can use to be role models for young women. You should have them in your classrooms. You should read to them. You should let them know that women can be people of accomplishment, that women can be leaders, that just because they'll never see a female pilot doesn't mean there won't be one, or that they can't be one. These are the things that will make a difference. They need to understand it's okay to fight for what they believe in. And now I'm going to conclude with my favorite children's book ever. It's by a Canadian author. The name of the author is Robert Munsch, and the name of the book is The Paper Bag Princess. And this is a book about a young princess named Elizabeth and a young prince named Ronald. And Elizabeth loves Ronald with all of her heart, and she's going to marry Ronald someday and grow up to be a princess. But then a very bad dragon comes, and he kidnaps Prince Ronald, and he takes him far away, and he burns down the castle. And all Elizabeth has to wear is a paper bag. That's all she can find. So she puts on her paper bag, and she sets off on a journey. She finds Prince Ronald. She uses her wits and her intelligence to trick the dragon, and then she rescues Prince Ronald. And this is what he says. This is what Elizabeth looks like. This is Prince Ronald. And he says, Elizabeth, you look terrible. You're wearing a burned paper bag. Your hair is a mess and you're dirty. After he rescues her, she rescues him. And this is what Elizabeth says. Ronald, your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you're really a bum. And they didn't get married after all. So we want to teach young girls to pursue their dreams. We want to teach young girls to choose the best partner to support them, not financially. Not financially. Financial support is only one kind of support. The most important kind of support is emotional support, support for your dreams. And I would leave you with this thought, that is, As you leave this conference, think about a young girl you can mentor. Think about the fact we need more women in leadership positions in every part of our society. And most important, think about the support you can offer each other, because we all have the right to support our dreams. My research followed women in the decade of their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, and their 80s. It's never too late to become who you want to be, and it's never too late to support someone else's journey. Thank you so much for your kindness and your hospitality. We've loved our time here. Thank you.
Uf, qué difícil, sobre todo para Laura y para mí. Claro, ayer insistían en hacernos una foto ahí en la cena y yo decía, pero si ya no vamos a marchar, ¿qué foto? Si ahora ya tenemos cara de susto. Y no, vamos a hacer una foto las tres, estas sorpresas de los seres humanos y sobre todo de las seres humanos. No sé muy bien qué decir. Esta es la segunda vez que un auditorio se levanta a aplaudir a la doctora Sally Reis en Santiago de Compostela. La gente que estuvo en el proyecto Talento lo sabe. No deja a nadie indiferente. He visto muchas lágrimas expresadas de una manera explícita en todas las mujeres y seguro que de una manera implícita en todos los hombres, porque parece que siempre solo nos conmovemos nosotras con estos discursos, pero estoy segura que si hay hombres en un congreso de altas capacidades es porque son hombres sensibles. Así que, le damos las gracias a Sally Reis. La verdad es que hacer un turno de preguntas ahora, así en caliente, es un poco, casi un fin de fiesta que no merece, ¿no? Agradecemos a Eva y a Susana que estén con nosotras. Elena está ahí, decana de matemáticas. María José Alonso, que no sé por dónde anda porque nunca se revela, pero es una de las científicas más conocidas en el mundo de la farmacia en España y en el mundo entero. Le damos también un aplauso. Son mujeres modelo. Pero ella no se revela, se pone ahí detrás, ¿no? Si fuera un hombre estaría a lo mejor en primera fila. Gracias, María José. Gracias a todas y a todos por estos 3 días tan intensos. Una persona que hace muchos eventos de este tipo me decía el otro día, no la veo ahora, Ana Framiñán, una crack en el tema de la educación emocional, que congrega a 3.000 personas cada otoño en Santiago para hablar de emociones. Me decía, te dará el bajón, luego el subidón, luego el bajón, luego otra vez el subidón. No sé qué estado de ánimo voy a tener esta tarde. Lo que sí sé es que, como dice Sally, mi hija lleva 3 días demandando mi presencia, por tanto, esta tarde tendré que dedicársela, porque tanto su padre, que es un hombre, como yo, hemos estado 3 días en este intenso congreso, así que está en manos de abuela, que es también una mujer. Gracias a las abuelas, por cierto, muchas gracias a las abuelas. Sin las abuelas no estaríamos aquí. Gracias a las abuelas que no iban a la escuela y que muchas veces tenían que llevar el carro de la hierba y luego cuidar de los nietos. Gracias a esas abuelas rurales de Galicia y de toda España. Y gracias sobre todo a la gente de la organización, gracias a ASAC una vez más, gracias a nuestros voluntarios y voluntarias que han estado ahí al pie del cañón. Se lo han pasado muy bien, pero han trabajado mucho. Gracias, chicos y chicas de ASAC. Gracias obviamente a los invitados, a los conferenciantes, a los presidentes de mesa, a los colaboradores, al equipo técnico, al Palacio de Congresos, a los patrocinadores. Gracias a todos porque, como decía Sally, sin hacer una red de apoyo todo esto sería imposible. Susana nos ha echado un guante para volver a celebrar el segundo Congreso en Galicia. Lo intentaremos, pero también contaremos con su apoyo. Y bueno, ¿por qué no pensar que dentro de unos meses o un par de años nos volvamos a ver aquí en Compostela? Disfrutad de la tarde, es un maravilloso día de septiembre en Santiago y ojalá nos veamos pronto, pero sobre todo ojalá este congreso dé sus frutos y hayamos dado un paso más en la atención a las altas capacidades. De corazón, muchísimas gracias.
Este primer congreso queda clausurado.